Something strange is true about every AI image, and it should make you trust your own eyes a little less. Not one of them ever started as a picture. They begin as pure static, random dots, no subject at all, and get cleaned up 50 passes later into a photograph that looks completely, convincingly real. And there's one thing about how your typed words turn into those pixels that almost nobody gets right. Your prompt isn't searching for a picture. It's steering toward one. Hold on to that word, steering, because it's the whole secret, and I'll show you exactly what it means before we're done.
Erica here, and the cleanest way I found to say it is this. An AI image generator is less a painter and more a restorer. It stares at a mess of noise and keeps guessing what could have been underneath it.
Wait, so it's not drawing at all? My whole mental picture was some tiny robot with a paintbrush going stroke by stroke. That's just wrong?
I'm Caroline, and yes, that picture is wrong, which is exactly why this matters. Nobody sells you the boring version. It's not a brush. It's a machine that removes noise over and over until a face appears. And a machine that removes noise can put a face anywhere.
Last episode, we opened up a model and counted the dials inside it. This one is about what those dials do when the output isn't words, it's pixels. Same machine, different job.
And once you see how the scary headline about fake images gets a lot less mystical and a lot more useful. You stop asking, is this real? And start asking, where did this come from?
Before we go further, the comments already ask the harder version of this. People keep writing, quote, how does typing a sentence turn into a picture that never existed? That's the whole game, so let's earn it.
Everything so far is just the shock. The next 10 minutes is where you actually learn to see it coming. Because once you know how the noise turns into a face, you can't be fooled by one the same way again.
Okay, I have to admit something. For 2 years I thought these models had a giant folder of pictures they were quietly stitching together. When I found out the truth, my brain kind of reset. There is no folder.
There's no folder, and to get why, you have to run the training backwards in your head. It's the part that feels upside down the first time.
So let me walk you all the way through one training example, start to finish. You take a real photo, say a clear picture of a dog on a beach. Step 1. You sprinkle a tiny bit of static on it so it's barely fuzzed. Step 2. A little more. You keep going for hundreds of steps until the dog is completely gone and all that's left is pure noise. Now here's the move. At every single step, you show the model the noisier version and ask it one question: what did I just add? Do that across billions of images, and the model becomes an expert at one narrow skill, looking at a fuzzy mess and predicting the exact noise to peel off. It never learns dog, it learns unfog.
Unfog, okay, think aloud with me. If training runs a photo down to noise over, 1,000 steps, and you do that for billions of images, that's not a folder, that's 1,000 tiny lessons per picture, times billions. Call it more math than any human could ever look at.
That's the ruling. It's not storing pictures, it's storing a skill, the how to clean any mess skill, smeared across all its dials. And that connects straight up to layer 1 of the AI stack, the token. A chatbot guesses the next word one step at a time. An image model guesses a cleaner picture one step at a time. Same loop, different output. It never conjures the whole thing at once.
Hold on, but it has to be pulling a stored image from somewhere.
It doesn't, and that's the thing people fight me on hardest. There's no dog file to pull from. There's only the cleaning skill. And straight from the 2015 paper that started all this, the model learns, quote, a reverse process that restores structure from noise. Structure, not a saved copy.
Okay, fair. That's cleaner than I wanted it to be. It's the patience of a good high school teacher grading the same mistake 50 times until it finally sticks, just done to a machine.
And the name itself gives it away if you speak a little physics. Watch a drop of ink hit still water. Tight and concentrated at first, then slowly scattering until the whole glass is an even gray. That scattering is the forward step, the fogging. Diffusion is just the plain physics word for exactly that, order spreading into randomness. And training teaches a model to run that scattering in reverse, to pull the dye back into a single drop. Same intuition, wound backwards.
Running it in reverse. That phrase does all the work, and almost nobody stops to picture what reverse actually looks like on a screen. So let's put it up and watch it happen, one rung at a time. One thing before the next part, and then we move right on. If any of this is clicking, tap that like, hit subscribe, and ring the bell for the next one. It takes a second, it costs nothing, and it helps more than you would think. "50 steps, that's roughly how many passes a common image model takes to turn a screen of nothing into a finished picture. Let me show you the ladder it climbs, because seeing it kills the magic in the best way. It begins with this, genuinely this, a screen of pure random static, the kind of snow an old television showed when it had no signal. There is no dog, no face, no anything, just noise the model generated fresh that never came from a camera.
And from that nothing, it climbs. Let me put the whole ladder on the board. Rung 1, the pure static we just saw. The model does its first pass and asks, if this were a fuzzed photo, what noise would I remove? It peels a layer, and rung 2 appears. Faint blobs of color, no shapes yet. It runs the exact same guess again on its own output. Rung 3, rough shapes and edges start to firm up. You can tell there's a horizon, maybe a figure. Rung 4, a blurry but real scene, almost there. And rung 5, dozens of passes in, the sharp finished photo. Every rung is the same move, remove a little more predicted noise, look again.
So the picture doesn't get built, it gets uncovered. Like the model believed a photo was hiding in the static the whole time and just kept wiping the fog until it could see it.
And here's the money question I always ask. Why 50 and not 5? Who decides?
You do, actually, if you want. More passes, more detail, but slower. The original method used around 1,000 tiny steps. A faster method got comparable quality in about 50, roughly 10 times quicker, by taking bigger strides down the same ladder. Push it too few and the picture stays soft. That's the whole trade, quality against speed.
And hold on to that number step count, because it's not just about sharpness. It's also hiding the answer to the single most mocked failure these tools ever had. We'll come back to it before this video ends.
So it can pull a whole convincing world out of noise, which raises the uncomfortable question nobody in this room fully agrees on. Is it really creating anything, or is it just
copying? That's how Caroline was about to finish it, and it's the fight worth having, because your answer changes whether you call this theft or a tool. Here's what's actually at stake tonight. Get this wrong in one direction and you accuse every artist using it of stealing. Get it wrong the other way and you hand these systems credit they haven't earned. So I'm not debating. I'm going to referee. Liam, you think these models genuinely create? Caroline, you think it's a very fancy remix. Make your cases.
It's a remix? Follow the money and the machinery. Every pixel it can produce traces back to patterns it copied from real photos and real art it was fed. Ask for a cat, you get an average of 10 million cats it studied. That's not invention. That's a blender with a very good memory.
Then explain a cat wearing a spacesuit riding a unicycle on Mars. It never saw that photo, nobody did, and it renders it clean. If it were only pulling stored pictures, that image is impossible. It combined concepts it learned into something new. That's the definition of imagination, isn't it?
Pin it down for me, Liam. When exactly does combining stop being remixing and start being creating? Give me the line.
The line is whether the result exists anywhere in the training set. The cat on Mars doesn't. So the model didn't retrieve it, it interpolated, it walked to a new point between things it knew. My read is that a new point in that space is a genuinely new image.
A new point between other people's dots is still built on their land.
Fair, and that's the honest tension. It can only travel roads its training paved, Ask it for a genuinely new kind of thing, something no image ever hinted at, and it can't reach it. It reaches for the nearest thing it already knows and gives you that instead. So it's bounded, but inside the boundary, the combinations really are new.
Here's a case neither of you has touched. It can perfectly nail the swirling brushstroke feel of a famous painting on demand. Caroline is copying a style theft, or is style fair game the way it is for a human student in a museum?
That's the one that keeps me up. A student learns style slowly and adds themselves. This does it in seconds, at scale, from work it took without asking. The mechanism might be, quote, interpolation within the learner distribution, but scale changes the ethics even if it doesn't change the math. That's not a coding question, it's a fairness one.
You said distribution, Caroline. Sit on that word because it's actually the referee here. The distribution is the whole cloud of images it learned. It can only pull out a picture that cloud could plausibly hold.
Yay. Okay, that part's real.
So here's my verdict, and it's straight from the research, not opinion. A diffusion model samples from the distribution of images it was trained on. That means Liam is right. It makes genuinely new combinations, real novelty inside that cloud. And Caroline is right, it cannot invent outside the cloud, and it's remixing human work to fill it. Neither cancels the other. If you're an artist worried about your style, my honest recommendation is this. Your fight isn't with the word creativity, it's with what went into the training set.
New, but never from nowhere. I can live with that.
But before the training set, there's a piece we skipped. When you type your prompt, how do plain English words even reach into that cloud and pick the right region? Words aren't pixels. So how does one become the other?
They live in the same place. That's the answer. Words and pictures get translated into the same kind of numbers in one shared meaning space, and that's the trick that lets a sentence pull on an image at all.
Wait, words and pixels in the same place? Those feel like completely different things to me. How does that even work?
It sounds impossible until you see it. Years before the image part, researchers trained a system on hundreds of millions of pictures paired with their captions, until it could place any word and any image onto one shared map. Picture it like this. On one side, words. On the other, pictures. Normally two totally different worlds. But here's the ruling that makes everything work. The word sunset and an actual photo of a sunset get placed at the same spot on the map because they mean the same thing. So when you type sunset, you're not searching a folder, you're dropping a pin on the map, and the model steers its noise cleaning toward that pin.
And that's the thing I promised you at the very top, the difference between searching and steering. Cash it in with me. A search box finds a picture that already exists. Your prompt does something stranger. It aims the cleanup at a region of that map and lets a brand new image condense out of noise, pointed exactly where you.
Stop right there. This is my kind of thing. Let me think of the biggest potluck dinner you've ever seen, except the tables are arranged by flavor, not by who brought the dish. The word spicy is a place card. A photo of a curry is a plate. Both get set at the same table, the spicy table, because they belong together. Your prompt is you pointing across the room. You say, give me spicy and comforting, and the model walks to where those tables overlap and cooks you a brand new plate from what's there.
Okay, but stress test it for me. What's on the table when nobody has ever cooked that dish? If I ask for a flavor that was never brought to the potluck?
Then here's the one place the analogy breaks, and it's the important place. Unlike a real potluck, the model can't leave the building for takeout. If the flavor was never brought, it just serves you the closest thing it has and calls it done. In plain terms, your words can only steer toward regions the training actually filled.
Liam, you've been sitting on the question everyone tries the very first time they touch one of these. Put it to us.
Yeah, here it is. Same prompt twice, same picture, or do you get something different each time?
Something different, and this is where it clicks. Your prompt sets the direction, but every image starts from a fresh, random screen of static. Different starting noise, different picture, even with the identical words. The prompt is the compass. The noise is the dice.
Make it real. A designer, mid-30s, types a red sneaker on a beach and hits go 4 times for a client. Same 8 words. What lands on her screen?
4 different beaches, 4 different sneakers, same idea. It's the, wait, fresh static each time, right? Right? 4 fresh noise screens, so 4 genuinely different photos that all match the words. Compass and dice, together.
So words can steer it toward a red sneaker on a beach, no problem. Which makes the next part almost funny. If it can do that, why for years could it not give a person 5 normal fingers?
Compass points, dice roll.
Okay, different animal entirely, the thing everyone screenshotted and laughed at. The hands. 6 fingers, 7 fingers, a thumb growing out of a thumb. And remember I told you to hold on to step count? Here's the payoff I promised. The hands break for the exact same reason the ladder works. Look at a real one with me.
5 fingers, the joints in the right places, the thumb set lower and off to the side. Your brain has seen a million hands and knows this cold. The model has seen a million hands too, but it never learned a hand the way you just did.
Because it doesn't know a hand is an object with a rule, 5 fingers, no more. It only knows what hand-shaped pixels tend to look like, on average, and in most training photos the hands are tiny, half-hidden, holding something. So the model learned a fuzzy smear of fingerish stuff, and when it cleans the noise there, it just guesses a plausible blur that often has the wrong.
Easy fix then. They just fed it a mountain more hand photos, done.
Not quite, and the miss is the lesson. More photos alone barely moved it. The real gains came from targeted engineering, teaching the model hands specifically, even bolting a separate 3D model of a hand on as a guide. It wasn't more data, it was building in the rule the statistics never gave it.
And there's someone who lives inside this stuff, so let me get him on the line to keep us all honest.
Hold on though. The question isn't whether they fixed hands. Hands were never the disease, they were the symptom. The model paints what things look like, not what things are. Fix hands, and feet, teeth, and text on a sign break next, for the exact same reason.
So when a sign in an AI image says gibberish letters, that's the same bug as the hands?
Same bug exactly. Letters are objects with hard rules and statistics smears rules. 9 times out of 10, if it looks almost right but is subtly wrong, you're seeing a thing the model painted the surface of without ever knowing the rule.
Wait. Back up one step before you run on.
Fair. Stop me. Go ahead. I can see Caroline's not buying the tidy version, and she shouldn't.
I'm not, you said fix one, the next breaks, but newer systems really did get hands mostly right and mostly kept them. So surface only can't be the whole story, can it?
You're right, and I overstated it. It doesn't fix itself for free, but pour enough targeted effort into a known failure and you can genuinely patch it. The honest line is this: the rules aren't impossible to install, they're just not free, and there's always a next weak spot.
Which is exactly why the artifacts keep aging out. So how does all of this stretch into video? That feels like it should be 1,000 times harder.
Let me fix the question first. It isn't harder, it's what gets added, and the answer is one word: time. A video is just images with a rule between them. Each frame has to look like the one before it.
So it's thinking in a stack of frames instead of one flat picture. The extra dimension is just time.
Exactly. The model cleans noise in space and in time at once, keeping the cat the same cat as it moves. Remember Caroline's potluck? Video just adds a house rule: the next plate has to look like the last one. Get it wrong and the coffee cup melts into the table halfway through the shot.
One flat image, 50 passes, a few seconds of steady video, that same work multiplied across every frame and locked together in time. That is why moving pictures cost what they cost. Caroline, you kept pointing at the training set all night. Let's finally say it out loud. Where did all those images come from?
The open internet. Billions of pictures scraped from websites, art platforms, stock libraries. A lot of it real work by real people who were never asked and never paid.
And it's not abstract. A famous print like this one, or a swirling painted night sky, both scanned and posted thousands of times online, both almost certainly swept into datasets like this. When a model nails that style on command, this is the human work it learned it from.
Quick, honest one. Is that even legal? Or has nobody stopped them yet? Actually, let me not guess. I want to say the artists all won, but I don't trust my memory on a court case, and this is exactly the thing people repeat wrong. Pull the page.
Good, because the truth is messier than either side's headline. Straight from the court record. Getty Images sued the maker of One Big Image tool. A United Kingdom ruling in late 2025 went mostly the toolmaker's way on the core question, whether the train model itself is an illegal copy. The United States case is still open, with trial set years out. And a group of artists has a separate case that's also still being fought. Nobody has won. It's live, right now.
There it is. Write that down, not my guess. Still being decided.
And that ruling was 2022, which tells you how new all of this.
No, 2025, not 2022. Barely months old.
Right? Months old, which is the whole point. This is being decided as we speak, not settled history.
And we're deliberately not settling that fight tonight. It's big enough to earn its own episode, so that's what it gets. But here's what I'd actually do with all this, starting today. Stop asking, is this image real? Ask, where did it come from? If a striking photo online has no source you can trace, treat it as unverified, because you now know a machine can unblur a screen of static into anything at all. The picture was never the proof. The source is.
The source is. Walk away with just that one line, because that single habit is worth more than every spot the fake trick you will ever learn.
Before I run it back, try to say the one line that would explain this to a friend. Got it? Here's mine. An AI image is a screen of pure static, cleaned up about 50 times, steered by your words toward a picture that was never photographed.
And next time we rewind 70 years, because none of this fell out of the sky. There is a machine that beat the world chess champion and taught everyone the wrong lesson about intelligence. That story is where we go next.
The thing you walk away with tonight isn't a fact, it's a reflex. The next time an image stops you scrolling, some quiet part of your brain now asks where it came from. That reflex is going to protect you more than you'd guess.
If this unblurred something for you, hit like and subscribe. We're building this whole series into one plain English map of how AI actually works, and every episode locks in another piece of it.
And here's the one we couldn't settle, so it's yours. If a model can only remix what people already made, is what it produces genuinely new art or just a very convincing echo? Tell us where you land in the comments.
That's the machine behind the pictures, start to finish. Keep asking where it came from, and I'll see you next time. This is Jasmine, thanks for spending it with us.
I keep waiting to find something to critique, Jasmine. I have given up. 9 out of 10. This is Professor Erica, thanks for watching and signing off.